Welcome back everyone, Meanpooh here, and today we have the Alienware M15 R3. This machine is equipped with a 10th gen i7-10875H, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070 Super, 32GB of DDR4 RAM, a 512GB NVMe drive, and a 300Hz panel. With this machine, I was a bit happy on the packing as it came as it should. The actual computer and its container was housed inside of a shipping cover. Not as thick as I would have liked, but it's better than the packing that came with the Dell G5, which had no protection for the box. Anyway, the shipping cover was pretty thin and was about as thick as a shoebox. The cover has all the usual markings. On this side we have the warnings of explosions because of the battery contained. On the left side, it's pretty plain with just a sticker for identification at the factory or something. On the front, we have the packing label. On the right, there is a shipping label on where to ship, with the usual symbols on the box showing this side up, don't get wet, etc. On the top, there is a carrying handle with the Intel logo. On the bottom, there is more info about the box specification and tolerances. Here's the packing with the main packaging removed. Again, it's pretty thin. Now here we have the box that has the laptop residing inside. On the top we have the handle with the Intel logo. This side has the Alienware logo along with the previous warnings. There is also some art design on the box. This side has some more art along with logos and features that the machine has. Killer Wi-Fi, Cryotech, alien effects, RGB, etc. The color also changes as you sweep the side of the box. This side has the Alienware logo with the number 15 at the bottom, and I would only assume that this is the front. This side has more art with the model of the machine, M15, on the side. Lastly, the bottom has some part numbers, art design, and icons such as the box being recyclable. The box opens from the front and you'll have to tuck the handle in before lifting. Right off you will notice that it's heavy, and that is because of the thick foam that surrounds the laptop. I haven't seen packing like this in a long time. Rest assured your computer is protected while being shipped. On top of the machine there is a thin card which has some links that you can use to find out more about the Alienware brand. On the other side is a message telling you that your machine is the fruit of years of innovative ideas and that it offers a distinct design with the finest build and premium quality. The power supply is located in the black box behind the machine, which is 240 watts. The model number is LA240PM190. Also inside is a power cord that plugs into the power adapter. With the laptop removed, there is a little black envelope that has some documentation. The first being the warranty, safety, and regulatory information, and the second, a quick setup. This is the view from the top with the rear of the machine at the bottom. Centered slightly to the top is the Alienware logo that lights up when the computer is turned on. This is a plastic piece that is almost flush with the lid and is recessed by about 0.2 of a millimeter. To the bottom right we have the characters 15 or 15, which is the model of the machine. If you move your hand across, you can slightly feel them, just enough to let you know that they are there. It's not something you can peel off, and it feels like it's made to the lid. The very bottom is the exhaust, which has some inputs that I will go over. The lid is very smooth, soft, and cold to the touch. It's made of a very light metal and feels very sturdy with no sharp edges. If you're wondering, the color for the machine is lunar light. Opening the laptop can be achieved with one finger, although the front will rise about an inch or two before slowly lowering back down. The layout of the keyboard is pretty standard with all the function keys at the top and not a lot of special useless buttons. Functions 4 and 5 will adjust audio, while 9 and 10 will adjust brightness. 11 will disable the touchpad, while 12 will turn off the effects. The F1 key will let you disconnect from a graphic amplifier if you happen to get one in the near future. Just above the function keys are ventilation access in the shape of honeycombs. This should help with cooling. On the far right is the Alienware logo, which is a power button. This can be customized to a color of your choice in the Alienware command center. The model I have has 4-zone RGB, which can also be changed within the software. It's also worth noting that the M15 has a high endurance clear coat, which should offer advanced stain resistance from the elements or dirty fingers. The build quality of this area is solid, with the metal alloy being used in this area just like the lid. Located on the bottom bezel of the display, the Alienware logo is centered with the factory plastic film that really needs to be pulled off, I know. Starting on the left side, we have a wedge-shaped security cable slot used to prevent theft, an exhaust port, a killer E3000 network port supporting speeds up to 2.5 gigabits per second, a USB 3.1 Gen 1 port with power share, and this allows data transfer speeds up to 5 gigabits per second, and having power share enables you to charge your USB devices when your computer is turned off. Last on this side is the headphone port, which is a combo that lets you connect a microphone or headphone with included microphone. Moving along the front, we have the left speaker, and the right speaker. On the right side, we have a micro SD card slot supporting MSD, MSDHC, and MSDXC, which stands for Micro Secure Digital Extended Capacity. Here we have two USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports, again providing transfer speeds up to 5 gigabits per second with certain USB devices. Lastly, on the right sides, we have another exhaust port. On the rear, we have a long oval light called Tron. It stretches from end to end and can be controlled from the Alien Command Center. In the middle of the Tron light bar, we have one of two main exhaust vents, and this is covered by a honeycomb grille. Next, we have a 2.0 HDMI port with video and audio output. It can be connected to an external monitor or LCD TV. A 1.4 mini display port, and this is used to connect a monitor or VR headset. On over, we have a Thunderbolt 3 USB Type-C port with power delivery. This port will allow you to connect an external monitor and provide speeds up to 40 gigabits per second. The power delivery enables two-way power supply between devices. On over, we have the external graphics port. This will allow you to use the Alienware graphics amplifier, which is the housing that will allow you to install a new graphics card to your laptop. Externally, of course. Here's the power adapter port, which allows the machine to get power and to charge the battery. Lastly, on the rear, we have two of the main exhaust vents, and also features the honeycomb grille. At the top of the LCD panel, we have the left microphone, which is used for recording audio and voice calls. On over, we have the camera, which supports up to 1280 by 720 at 30 FPS and takes still photos at 0.92 megapixels. This is useful for quick video chats and very small stills. Here's a sample.
Again, this is the Alienware M15 revision 3. And hopefully the sound is coming through.
This is the status light. And lastly, this is the other microphone, which does the same as the first. On the bottom of the laptop, the same build quality continues with the smooth feel and cool touch. At the top, we have the honeycomb pattern, which is an intake. On the bottom, we have the right and left speakers. There are two long rubber feet that run almost the entire length of the laptop that keeps the machine from sliding. Those are located here. To gain access to the inside, you must first loosen or remove these screws, and then use a pry tool around the edges. trust me, it's not as bad as you may be thinking, and it's the easiest access I have ever seen. Before you begin, make sure that your drive fits and it's not damaged in any way. These screws are not strong and the head can be easily stripped. Only 2 of the 8 need to be completely removed. Lift like so, and as you can see, the bottom panel is indeed metal. Looking at the top, you may be saying to yourself, where's the RAM? And to answer your question, it's integrated into the board, so no upgrading. I think they took a page from Apple, so let's hope they don't do the same to the drives in the near future. One thing to note is that you don't have immediate access to the CPU and GPU as the boards are reversed, so you will have to remove many screws to get to it. Starting on the left side, we have the right fan, the exhaust vent, a USB 3.1 Gen 1 port, a Mylar protective covering. By the way, the underside of the CPU is located right here. Left side fan, an exhaust vent, the network port, the USB 3.1 Gen 1 port with power share, and the headphone port. Going left is the secondary M.2 expansion. The M.2 NVMe drive with the heat shield. On over is the Killer Wi-Fi 6 AX1650. This wireless card supports speeds up to 2400 megabits per second and features 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands, which has support for Wi-Fi 802.11a all the way to 802.11ax. Lastly, it supports Bluetooth. This is the second USB 3.1 Gen 1 port, the micro SD card slot, the right side speaker. Here is the 6L 86 watt hour smart lithium ion battery. And lastly, the left side speaker. Here are some still photos of some of the parts of the laptop. Here I'm taking a sneak peek under the black Mylar just to see what's under it. The speakers on the laptop are pretty good quality as they have a physical woofer that flexes. I have no idea about the voice coil, so your guess is as good as mine. The outside of the fan housing is made of metal. I tried to bend them, but I couldn't. Unfortunately, the fans for the laptop are not, and it seems to be made out of some kind of resin. I tried my magnet test and it didn't work. For those curious about weight, I got 906 grams for the power supply. For the computer itself, I got 2,235 grams. Hitting the alien head on the keyboard starts the boot process. All buttons will light up, including the logo on the lid and the Tron light bar on the back. During post, the Alienware logo will appear on screen. The included power supply, when plugged into an AC outlet, has a glowing blue light on the end of the connector. You will go through the usual process of a new computer with account setup and account linking. Next up, I'm going to show you some tests. With this program, I'm going to show you what all sensors are detected and the temperatures. The machine is idle with only the recording software going. This test is used to benchmark the drive. I use my phone for this as desktop recording interferes with the test. The fire strike and time spy score are achieved using stock settings, balanced power, and balanced thermals. This is the Cinebench score for single and multi-core. No undervolts or overclocks are used. Thermal and power plan are both set to balanced. CPU-Z was used to show the specs of the CPU, motherboard, graphics, etc. And at the end, benchmark against other CPU results. I believe the memory didn't show in this program because of it being integrated into the board. While benchmarking, the speeds were looking pretty good. If you decide to use another program, just understand that all programs do not test the same. Stressing this machine shows us some interesting things. After 47 seconds, the machine is already in the 90s and a few cores have thermal throttled. What's so interesting about it is that the core clock speed is still pretty high, ranging from 3.7 to 3.8 GHz out of a max 4.3 and all cores running. Not only that, the machine is stable at 100C. This is nothing to be alarmed about as Intel chips can run without issue at this temperature. Now, if you're one of those people out there that want those missing clocks, this is what you can do. Install Throttlestop, go into Fiver, unlock the voltages, and input some parameters in undervolt. I use 151.4 for core and 131.8 for cache. Hit apply, and you can start lower if you like. Now, going back to the main screen, you can see that the temps are starting to drop, and over in Hardware 64, the clock speed is now at 4191. Again, don't worry about the temperatures being high in this machine, it can take it. And with that said, cooling is a big selling point on the M15 R3. Alienware is using a cooling system that they have named Advanced Alienware Cryotech. It features the latest in thermal technology with a host of features, such as a 9mm diameter increase in CPU fan blades, a 4mm diameter increase in the GPU fan blades, all-around improved airflow, an increase in power efficiency, and higher speeds for longer sustained periods. The fire-resistant Kevlar-like liquid crystal polymer fan blades now include sleeve bearings and 3-phase fan control. There's 132 unique fan blades to control both the CPU and GPU. The thermal activity across critical components like the GPU and CPU are now intelligently discharged across 4 3.5mm diameter copper composite heat pipes, and increased in size of heat pipes by 40% to increase overall surface area and heat dissipation. And lastly, vapor chamber technology, which that's a big one. They talked about that a lot. There are a few videos explaining what it is and how this works, but I'll try and do it here. Now, a vapor chamber is a planar heat pipe which can spread heat into 2 dimensions. They are typically used when high powers and heat fluxes are applied to a relatively small evaporator area, CPU, GPU. During operation, the heat input into the evaporator vaporizes liquid within the evaporator wick. The vapor then flows throughout the chamber, creating an isothermal heat spreader. The vapor then condenses on the condenser surfaces, where the heat is removed by forced convection, natural convection, or liquid cooling. Capillary forces in the wick then return the condensate to the evaporator, and that's how it cools. This is the screen at different viewing angles. This is the panel in a completely dark room. You can see some screen bleed at 4 different corners. In this test, I'm using battery saver mode with Netflix. The time started at 10:40 and ended at 12:35, which gives us 1 hour 55 minutes. This is all you get with no NVIDIA Optimus technology. Sorry. Here is the machine sitting idle. I am exactly 1 foot away from the palm rest. This is the keyboard test. You can barely hear it when you are typing on it, and it's very pleasant and quiet. In this test, I am pushing down on the keyboard area and the sides to see if there is any flex. Compared to the other machines I've tested, this is the best. There is no flex here unless you push really hard. Since making the video, I have used the touchpad without gloves, and I must say that the touchpad is top notch. It's glass just like a MacBook, and it's very responsive. It's multi-touch and supports all gestures available in Windows 10. Right now, I'm just clicking the area to see what it does off screen. The Alien Command Center lets you see all the games installed on your computer and launch them with custom overclock settings, power schemes, and thermals. You can also create macros, profiles, and adjust your lighting effects. I'll go over it a bit more in my G5 5500 review, so if you want to see a little bit more information, go ahead and check that out. What this one has that the other doesn't is the ability to overclock the GPU. The Fusion tab already has a few overclocks set up for you to use, but each one is only incremented by 24 MHz. To get the real benefit, you will have to create your own and adjust the power limits, core, and memory clocks. In the Fusion tab, you can create your own fan curve if you feel that the pre-made ones are just not working for you. One example would be that the fan curves do not spin fast enough at a certain temperature, causing premature heating. When you are finished with that, you can mess around in the audio profiles to get a good sound for your games, music, and movies. Headphones are strongly recommended.
Is a necessary step on the path to a brighter tomorrow. This is the UAC merger initiative. Humanity can now
losing this fight. Hostile care package
Female
inbound.
operator threat down. Frag out!
I should be cautious around here.
Wrapping up this review, I'm happy overall. I've never owned an Alienware machine and I just felt the need to spoil myself as I've always wanted one. The machine itself is smaller than I thought and feels just as compact as my MacBook Pro. Using the trackpad to use programs feels really good, as well as the system being really snappy. The keyboard is silent and has lots of room to type. The M15 has a really clean look and it's the best machine I've ever seen. I was expecting a little more power to come from the 2070 Super, but I really can't complain as I did not overclock or undervolt during the test. Some things that took me by surprise was the machine being able to reach 100C and still be stable. Another is that the RAM is integrated into the motherboard. Repasting seems like it's going to take some work, as I'm going to have to remove some boards and cables to get to it. Although the machine has a protective coating, I'm having reservations that it's going to work after a few years. Battery life is short, which is no big deal, as all the gaming laptops I own get around the same battery time. I'd give this machine a 9 based on build quality, looks, and stability. The price is steep, but you know, you get what you pay for and I'm pleased. The machine isn't for everyone, And there are machines out there that are cheaper with the same specs. Just do a bit of searching and you'll find them. Well, that's all I have for now. And in closing, if you want more like this, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Meanpooh, out. Okay, after a couple of crashes, I was able to get Throttlestop going again. And it's running at a comfortable around, right under 90, in the 80s, which is pretty damn good. Over here you can see the temps. Okay, and let's go ahead and look at the frequency. I mean, you can see it right here in Throttlestop. But let's go ahead and scroll up just a bit so you can see. So we can get just around 42, megahertz or 42 gigahertz frequency using Throttlestop, and we are not throttling at all. And even if it does throttle, that doesn't mean your game is going to throttle, while you're playing, because we are stressing the CPU. Everything changes when you start to play a game, and it's real world tests right there. But yes, you can reliably stop thermal throttling and cool the CPU down to something like that. And this is on, let me show you the settings I'm using. I don't even have the Alienware software open, but let me go ahead and start it. The command center. Alright, so, it's kind of hard to use a phone to see what's going on, but go to Fusion. Alright, so that is the thermal profile, and I'm on balanced. And for the power management, I'm on balanced as well. So, temperatures can be, it's not really an issue with this machine, but if the high temperatures are bothering you, you can load up Throttlestop and get it down. And it's not supposed to work, but I guess some people are able to get it going. I'm able to get it going. Let's see what my favorite settings are. And I went modest. On my my core, I have 144.5, and on my cache, I'm running around 102 millivolts on the offset. So definitely happy on this. Your frequency will go higher while you're playing games. Like I said, this is just a stress. That's all it is. Hopefully this will help you out if you're uncomfortable with the temperatures you can get. Also, like earlier, this machine can run reliably at 100C and not shut down. I've had machines shut down at 100C and before, and if you look at my previous videos. But this one, 100C straight on, and it might throttle. You saw where it throttled, but it's not going to stay throttled. So hopefully this will help someone that are uncomfortable with the temperatures. And Alienware machines are made to run maximum performance, and they somehow got it to be able to run maximum performance, just about all cores kicking, right at 100C, which is pretty awesome, and it doesn't even shut down. Let's go back. Oh, well, we can stick right here. 4190. So I'm pretty much happy with it. So just to make sure, let's go ahead, and I have another profile set up right here in Fiverr, and it's 0. I have it set to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and set it back to take off all the settings, and let's see what happens. There's the temperatures. save. Boom. Let's see what happens. Let's see if the offset's changed. No, it didn't change. So let's go ahead and do it. Zero. So it's already set. Unlock. Alright, here we go. I'll apply that. Alright. So now we can see where the temperatures are going to start to climb back up again. So we do know that Throttlestop is working. And I'm sorry that I'm using the phone, but I had a couple of crashes while I was recording. So I've lost a lot of footage, so I didn't want to lose this again. Alright, so let's change the profile to bring those temps back down. Let's see if we have any throttling. Yeah, we're having just a bit. No, there's one that just popped up. So let's go back. Change it to our offsets. Hit save and apply it. Temperature should start to go down. Come on, 92, go down. 91. 90. Yeah. And the throttling that's in the red, that is, you know, the average. Cut that out. So yeah, you can use Throttlestop with this, surprisingly. Again, my settings in Fiverr is 144 for the core and 102 for the cache. See that there. All right.